Hello friends. So in first 3 minutes, most of the regular students are here. Okay, so I am happy to see you here in first 3 minutes. Otherwise, I know you will take 10 minutes to join. Okay, I don't know why. So let's see and let's start without spending a time. Okay, so today we are not going to wait for anyone. So good evening and welcome to Unacademy. This is Abhijit and today we are going to discuss about the second part of our animal tissue. Okay, so the first part of animal tissue we already discussed. We know that there are few type of tissue we discussed, but the muscle tissue and the nervous tissue, this part was remaining. And today we are going to discuss about the muscle and nervous tissue. What we do not discuss in this chapter is a blood, that is a fluid connective tissue. Why? Because it is part of our circulation chapter, so it is better to discuss it there. Okay, इथे डिस्कस केलं तरी काही चुकणार नाही मित्रांनो, पण त्या ठिकाणी काय होईल ना की तुम्हाला चॅप्टरचा कॉन्सेप्च्युअल क्लॅरिटी जे आहे, सो इट इज मोर if we discuss this tissue in the circulation chapter. Okay, so let's start. Welcome to Unacademy. This is Abhijit, and today we are going to discuss about the second part of animal tissue. And we are here on the platform of Unacademy and the channel Crack Maharashtra CET. Okay, so if you do not subscribe this channel on YouTube, please subscribe it. So you will have the lectures on regular basis. Okay. So before starting the lecture, it is necessary to know about me. This is Abhijit Madkar. I have more than 6 years of experience and also cracked NET CSIR in December 2016 with All India rank 60 in a life science. Okay, so we know that this Unacademy is unbeatable. Some people call it unbeatable. Okay, so this is unbeatable Unacademy. It is the largest platform in India. The fourth part of the population is live on this Unacademy per day. Okay, so it is uh, the largest platform you can say. And if you want to join this platform, so it is necessary to join this app or to install this app and sign in here. Okay, so this app is available on the Play Store. This app is necessary to join us and to meet our different type of educators. Okay, so for your daily updates, it is necessary to join this channel on Telegram app. If you don't have any Telegram app, so uh, download this app from your app store, then type this URL in the search box of app, and then you will have the window like a join here. Okay, so when you join this app, you will have the notification about the time, subject, and topic per a day. Okay, so as you are willing to crack Maharashtra CET examination, so it is necessary to study it by the different way with a different subject. So this Telegram app or this channel will help you by a different way. Okay, so you do not have any subscription of Unacademy, so I will recommend you to take this subscription. If you are in 11th, please take this subscription of 12 months. So I will recommend you 12 month if you are in a 11th. So the fees of 12 month is a 24,000, and if you use this magic code, the fee will automatically reduce to 21,600. Okay, so if you are in a 12th standard, so I will recommend you the subscription of 12 month. Okay, so till your CET examination in next year 21, so this subscription will help you to increase your score. The fees for this subscription is 16,000, and this magic code capital Abhijit will decrease this fees till 14,850 rupees. Okay, and if you are already complete your 12th, okay, so please take this subscription of 1 month. I will recommend you 1 month. The fees for 1 month is 3,000, but this magic code will reduce it to the 1,499 rupees. So this is the subscription. So what is there inside of a subscription? So when you subscribe this academy or this channels or the app, you will have the offline lecture facility, Okay, so you will have the doubt solving session also. Then different educator, you can meet this different educator. You will have the practice of MCQs. Okay, so this type of different uh, uh, profits you will have in a single subscription. You can use it unlimited. Okay, so subscription is necessary for the unlimited use of the Unacademy. Okay, so let's start with animal tissue. So today we are going to discuss the second part of animal tissue. In first part we already discussed epithelial cell, then we discussed the connective tissues. Okay, so these different tissues we already discussed in the first part, and today we are going to start this session from the muscle tissues. Okay, so what is meant by muscle tissues? So this diagram will explain you what is meant by muscle and where they are. Okay, so let's see how the muscle tissues are structurally organized inside of the body, and the structure of a muscle cell also with their functions and a different type of role in our body. Okay, so let's see muscle tissue. We know that tissues are the group of cell which is function or which is work for a single function. Okay, so in this muscle tissue, it is made up of the cells. We call it a muscle cell, and these cells are the elongated. Okay, so these cells are elongated, and we call it muscle fibers. Okay, so the cells of your muscle tissue are generally called muscle fibers. Okay, so sarcolemma. So what is sarcolemma? It is a membrane of a muscle fiber. Okay, so we know that if there is different type of cell, we use different terminology to denote or to label the cell part. Okay, so here in a muscle cells, the sarcolemma is used to label the membrane of a muscle cell. A cytoplasm of a muscle cell is also called as a sarcoplasm. Okay, so these two words you have to write down in your notebook. Sarcolemma is a membrane of a muscle cell, and sarcoplasm is a cytoplasm of a muscle cell. Okay, so microfibrils are long fibers and made up of actin and myosin. We know that what are the actin and myosin? These are the proteins. Okay, these proteins are actually responsible for the contraction and relaxation. Okay, so these are the proteins or the functional part of our muscle cells. Okay, I'm not talking about the muscle tissue now. It is functional part of our muscle cells. Okay, so these actin and myosin are the protein which can contract and relax as per the muscles or the movement of muscles. So you can say these actin and myosin are the proteins or fibers which are responsible for the movement of our body. Okay, indirectly you can say, or directly also you can say, but we use the term muscles. Okay, to denote the movement of our body. So these are actin and myosin, that is the fibers are present inside of the sarcoplasm, that means in a cytoplasm of a muscle cell. Okay, where they are in cytoplasm of muscle cell. Okay, so muscle cell we are going to call here muscle fibers. Okay, so let's see guys, what is cytoplasm of muscle cell? We call it a sarcoplasm. Okay, so the muscle cell, cytoplasm of a muscle cell is denoted by or labeled as a sarcoplasm. On the stimulation, the fiber contract and decrease in a length. When you stimulate, or when if I prick a needle here, the muscles in our body automatically contract, and hand will be moved in a upper direction or opposite to the stimulation. So that time muscle get contracted. Okay, one of the one or the two nucleus are present. So depending upon the muscle cells or the fibers, depending upon the fibers, there is a one nucleus or two nucleus. Okay, so let's see guys, when two nucleus are present, when a cell is working for more energy, or the more work is there with a cell, that time cell needs extra nucleus. Okay, what causes muscle pain? Prajakta, I will explain. Okay, so let's hold this question for a while. When I explain the structure and the function of muscle cell, I will definitely explain the muscle cell. It's an interesting point, and thank you for asking this type of questions. Okay, So when you ask this type of question, I also find the way to discuss about the general things, okay, in your lecture, like a story. And I know that you love stories. Okay, so you love everything except of syllabus. So it required muscle cell required more energy. So large number of mitochondria are there. We know that there are few cells in our body which contain a large number of mitochondria. One is your muscle cell, and second, I can write here a sperm. Okay, sperm also required more number of mitochondria, because the sperm want to travel the complete track from uterus to ovary. Okay, so we know the arrangement of female reproductive tract, it's like this. Okay, and the pipe. Okay, so where is uterus and where is ovary? Let's see here. I know that after a few minutes you are surely going to forget everything about this. Okay, so let's see here. So this is a ovary. It is attached by the fimbriae to the fallopian tube. This is a fallopian tube. Okay, so fallopian tube, and here is your uterus. Okay, so I just draw one side of the. Okay, so this is how the female reproductive tract. So I am just talking about the single side. So sperms are mostly ejected here. Okay, so ejaculation, when ejaculation happens, sperms are here and they are trying to travel toward the this part. Okay, so where fertilization occurs. So here is a site of fertilization. Site of fertilization is here. So this track is about 12 centimeter long. Okay, so to travel this 12 centimeter, sperm required more energy. So there is a high number of mitochondria in sperm also, and in muscle we know that muscle work tremendously in our body. So there is a more number of mitochondria in a muscle, and when the cells of muscle which are more used by our body, so this type of a cell required two nucleus inside of the single cytoplasm. Okay, so this is how the two nucleus and the more number of mitochondria are present in your muscles. So this is a unique property of muscle. You will do not have any cell in your body like showing this much mitochondria and two nucleuses. Okay, so it is a unique property with your muscle cells only. Okay, so after how much time do the muscle cell get replaced? Okay, so Mansi, I will definitely explain. Is acupuncture related to muscles? Okay, Prajakta, just wait. Okay, hold your questions. If I forget, please ask me again, but if I do not, then I will definitely explain. So these are the muscle cells, different type of muscle cells or the muscle tissues. Okay, so the first tissue I can write here the cardiac muscle. The second one is a skeletal muscle. So this is your skeletal muscle, and third one is a smooth muscle. Okay, so let's see, guys. So in cardiac muscle, you can see these cells are attached themselves. Okay, so by a membrane of two cells are seems like attached to each other. Okay, and in skeletal muscles, so the two cells are not get attached to each other and they are completely different. And in a smooth muscle, so there is a gap between two cells. But the very important point I want to show you is the nucleus present inside of the cell. Okay, so if you see in a cardiac muscle, there is a single nucleus in a one cell. Here in a skeletal muscle, there is more than one nucleus in a one cell, and in a smooth muscle cell there is also a single nucleus in a one cell. Okay, so that's why I add that one line there. There is one or more nucleus present depending upon the type of muscle. So which muscle? Those. Very specifically, you can write a skeletal muscle maybe with more than one nucleus. Okay, so this is a unique property of skeletal muscle. Okay, otherwise the cardiac and the smooth muscle we will discuss in next slide. But let's see about the skeletal muscle first. So this is the diagram of skeletal muscle. This is the muscle. We call it a muscle. When we call it a muscle, it is a large group of tissue or the large group of cell. Okay, so let's see. So the fascicles means the unit. Let's see here. So this skeletal muscle is always attached to the bone. Okay, so they are always attached to the bone because they work with the bone. Each muscle fiber is a syncystal. Okay, so what is meant by syncystal? What is meant by a syncystal? Okay, so I'm going to write a question mark here. If you do not get answer tomorrow, please ask me. I will definitely explain what is meant by syncystal. It is a very beautiful phenomenon. I will definitely explain, but it is your job to find it first. Okay, if you do not uh, read, guys, your brain will not grow like it is. Okay, so just listening is not a study. Okay, so reading and writing in your so making a notes like handwritten notes is also part of as per me, I will recommend you, that is the most important part of your study. Okay, so please study it. This what is meant by satial. So microfibrils are parallel arranged, hence a nuclei are shifted to the periphery. Okay, so in this cell, what happened? A nucleus is shifted to the periphery. You can see here the nucleus. I will show you in next slide where is the nucleus. But let's keep in mind this because of the parallel arrangement of microfibrils. So there are more microfibers. So that's why the here is microfibers, microfilaments, guys. Okay, so you can see this the whole portion is called as a microfibril. So because of microfibril which is present inside of the cell. So let's see for example, this is a cell. Okay, single cell, and it is completely covered by the bundles of microfibers. Okay, so this cell is covered by the microfibrils, and because of that a nucleus you can see here. Here is your nucleus in blue color. Okay, so this is a nucleus of a cell which is at the periphery of a cell. Okay, so it is also a unique property. We know that it is nucleus, we always write it like it is at the center of a cell. Okay, but now here a nucleus is not at a center of a cell. Microfibrils are made up of the repeated unit of sarcomere. Okay, so what is sarcomere? So this portion from this zigzag line to the second zigzag line, so you can say this is a sarcomere. Okay, so we will explain it in next slide. Sarcomere is a functional unit of your muscles. Okay, sarcomere is a functional unit of your muscles. And let's see, guys, in this diagram of a sarcomere, say this red lines which are dark red actually. So these dark red lines are the nothing but the actons. Okay, actins which are moving from here to there. Okay, so this band like a structure we can see is actin. Okay, so this is actin, and this bluish structure or the black structure here between the two actin filaments, so we call it myosin. Okay, so myosin and actin comes together and they form a bundle like structure. We call it the sarcomere. So what is sarcomere, guys? Sarcomere is a bundle like structure which is made up of the arrangement of actin and myosin. Okay, so this sarcomere is considered as a unit or the functional unit of the muscles. Okay, because this two type of protein actually work, they slide in our body like this. Okay, for example, our body is getting or the hand, if you keep like this and someone put a needle here, so to avoid the damage by needle, your hand is just you pull it. Okay, so at the time of pulling this myosin, sorry, actin and the myosin which are arranged themselves like this, they just slide over each other. Okay, so this sliding results in the contraction. Okay, so we will have another lecture on the working of this muscle cell and the neuron cellular. Okay, so that means nervous tissue and the muscle tissue, how they work. We will arrange a next lecture or the one more lecture on that. Okay, so here uh, we required more than 2 hours to discuss that phenomenon here also. Okay, so ratchet theory वगैरे ऐकलं असेल ना तुम्ही? रॅचेट थिअरी ऐकलंय? नसेल ऐकलं. अभ्यासच केलेला नाही ना. अभ्यास केला तर ऐकू येतात अशा गोष्टी आणि पाहायला पण भेटतात. ओके, सो दिस टाइप ऑफ theories are there which explain how these muscles work in our body. Okay, so let's see a design of skeletal muscle. Okay, so this design is very beautiful. You can see this is arranged like a bundle, and this bundle can be slide on each other. Okay, so these bands are there. Let's see the first band I am writing here, the dark band. Okay, it is also called A band. Why A? Because anisotropic band, we call it anisotropic band, and that's why the A word is also used for this dark band. It is at the center of a sarcomere. Okay, so let's see guys, this is your sarcomere. So from this Z disc to the Z disc. Okay, so this is your sarcomere. Okay, and in this sarcomere, if you see these dark lines, okay, so dark lines from here, let me change the pen, dark line from here to here. Okay, so this portion or this complete portion is called as A band. Okay, so this is a dark band. It looks like a dark under microscope, that's why we call it a dark band. Okay, so there is nothing difficult to understand why it is called as dark. Yes, Mansi, it contains more nucleus, obviously. Okay, because it is function for the different type of movement, and it required more energy. So that's why there is a more mitochondria, and the more concentration, or we can say more control is required. That's why we require two nucleus or more than two nucleus inside of the this type of skeletal muscle. Okay, so it is, this dark band is made up of myosin and actin. Okay, so this dark band is made up of myosin and actin filaments. Okay, so these are the protein which is a part of your sarcomere. Okay, so Henson zone is also there. So what is Henson zone? It is also called as H zone. It is a light area at the center of a band. Okay, so this is your A band, and if you see the H zone, so you can see here H zone. So this line, you can see the green line is ending itself here. Okay, so the green line is a line of myosin, it is ending here. So the second part, which is a myosin coming from this side, it is also ending itself here, and the portion which is a lighter here and here, we call it a H zone. Okay, M line in the center of a H zone. So these three lines which is not labeled here inside of the structure, let's see guys, these lines are not labeled here, and these three lines, okay, so line number 1, 2 and 3, these lines are called as M line. Okay, so they are always at the middle part of a band. So the what is meant by isotropic band? So I band at both side of a band. So here is a band, and we can see here is also I band present, and here is also I band present. It is like a light band also, and this I band is always at the both side of a band. Okay, and Jwisenside line is also there. We call it the Z line. It is the name of a scientist, and this line separates the light band. Okay, so this Z disc or Z line, we separate the light band from it here, and this zigzag arrangement, we know that this zigzag arrangement is a myosin fiber or the myosin protein. Okay, so this is how the arrangement of our skeletal muscle or the sarcomere is inside of our body. Okay, so let's see guys, there are few points here which is a very important as a part of your MST CET examination. Okay, so let's see, skeletal muscle shows quick and a strong voluntary response. Okay, so skeletal muscles are good or specialized for a quick and the strong response. For quick and strong response, they are responsible for volunteer movements. So Okay, so please underline this word, volunteer movement. Okay, so your skeletal muscle will not going to disobey this rule of volunteer muscle. Okay, so they are always in the control of your wellness or willpower. Okay, so if you decide to move, they will move. Otherwise the involuntary, this muscle will not work like other muscles. Okay, so there are two type of skeletal muscle. One is called as a red muscle and second is called as white muscle. So why a red and white color are there? Due to the high amount of myoglobin, okay, it shows a red color, and due to the low amount of myoglobin it shows a white color. Now you can say, you can ask me, why sir is myoglobin red? Yes, myoglobin is a protein which can bind with the oxygen. Okay, so it is an oxygen transport, O2 transporter in muscles only. Okay, so that uh, due to the high concentration of myoglobin, this muscle can use more oxygen. Okay, when they work vigorously. Okay, we know that when we start working vigorously, we the concentration of oxygen in our body falls down. Okay, because of the rate of breathing is still less as compared to the use of oxygen inside of our body. At that time myoglobin help this red muscle to work with oxygen. Otherwise this white muscle will enter into the anaerobic respiration. Okay, so let's see, this is time to discuss about your question. Projecta was already asked, so why there is a pain inside of a muscle. Okay, so let's see why there is a pain. Okay, so one more point I want to take. So there is a many mitochondria in a red muscle and there is a few mitochondria in a white muscle. Okay, so blood supply is a very rich in a red muscle. That's why it is a red in a color, and the blood supply is a poor, so that's why it is a white in a color. Okay, so it is developed or designed to the rapid contraction, and the contraction of this muscle is slow but continue for a longer time, and it is for a shorter time. Okay, so this is difference between the two muscles. Okay, so let's see what happen if there is low oxygen available inside of our body. So due to the low oxygen, this muscle cell will enter into the anaerobic respiration. So we already discussed this anaerobic respiration in the process of glycolysis. So in anaerobic respiration, what happens? Your glucose is converted into the pyruvic acid. So we will have 2 ATP here and 2 NADH. So there is also 2 NADH. So this pyruvic acid enters into the Krebs cycle. Okay, so TCA cycle where the pyruvic acid enters. So this is a process, we call it aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration. Okay, so this after TCA, we know there is electron transport system which results in taking oxygen, which take oxygen and convert it to S2O. Okay, so this is your normal aerobic respiration system. Okay, now let's see how your anaerobic respiration works. So this is aerobic, guys. So glycolysis is not considered as aerobic as well as anaerobic because it does not require any oxygen here. So you can say glycolysis is anaerobic respiration. Okay, so let's see what is happen in anaerobic respiration. The process of glycolysis is very similar to pyruvic acid, but now due to the lack of oxygen, this due to the lack of oxygen, this pyruvate is not going to enter inside of the Krebs cycle, but it will enter into the anaerobic respiration, and anaerobic respiration means it will convert into the lactic acid. Okay, so what happened? There is a lactic acid which is accumulated. Okay, so this lactic acid will accumulated or store inside of the muscles. The result of this is there is a change in a pH. Change in a pH. Okay, so this change in a pH is a cause of your pain. Okay, so when you press your muscle, if you press your muscle, it will result in a good circulation. Okay, so let's see what is happening inside of your body. Okay, when there is a pain inside of your muscle, you just press it and it results in a good circulation inside of your muscle, and because of that what happen, lactic acid enters into the blood. Okay, so lactic acid, I'm going to write short form here. Lactic acid enters into the blood, and with blood it will move throughout the body, and in body, or the you can say in a liver, in liver it is going to again converted into glucose. Okay, so now we do not have any lactic acid inside of the body, so we do not have pain. Okay, so this is the reason behind the pain when you exercise vigorously inside of your, or the when you exercise more in the function, or the uh, when you are on trekking. Okay, so this type of things happen inside of your body. Okay, so guys, audio and is audio and video is clear? Is it clear for you? Okay, so please tell me it is clear or not. Okay, so let's see. So if you see this red muscle and white muscle, there is a difference because of color. And why there is difference in color? Because of the blood supply. The more blood supply and poor blood supply results in a white and the red color of a muscle. Okay, हा हा समजले का रे तुम्हाला की why there is a pain inside of your muscle? It is just because of the accumulation of lactic acid when you enjoying the trekking, or when you work hard, when there is a function inside of your house, or the in your family. Okay, so this is why there is a pain in your muscle. So there is very a few part in your body which is in a pain when the accumulation of lactic acid. Okay, let's see. We have a second type of skeletal muscle, that is a smooth muscles. Okay, so the smooth muscles also called non-striated muscles. These muscles are also called non-striated muscles. If you see the shape, they are fusiform in the shape. Okay, so in biology, when you see the fusiform word, it is used for the structure which is uh, a taper at the both end. Okay, so if you see the structure like this, we know what is this. Okay, it's a radish. Okay, and your carrot is a look like this. So this is carrot. Okay, so the structure of carrot, or the carrot, you can say a conical, and this is a fusiform. So a taper here and taper here, and here is a bulky or the broad structure. When you see this type of structure, you can say it's a uh, fusiform structure. Okay, so what is meant by fusiform here? So here the fusiform structure means it's a taper at the both end, and more in a width at the middle part of a cell. Okay, so this is how this muscle looks like, a taper at the both end, and uh, bulky at the middle part. That's why we call it a fusiform in a shape. Okay, so this is a unique form of your smooth muscle. Please keep in mind that they are unbranched with one nucleus. So there is only single nucleus inside of your smooth muscle, and they are unbranched. So we can see here is no any branch, and in first diagram also we can see here is also in a smooth muscle, the third type do not show any branch, but these muscles are attached to each other, and these muscles also showing like a branch like structure. Okay, so let's see, sarcoplasm, that means cytoplasm of a muscle cell, contains microfibrils made up of actin and myosin. So here is also the microfibrils which are designed by the actin and myosin. So less myosin and more actin is present in your smooth muscle. Okay, so less myosin and more actin is present in the smooth muscle. Okay, so this is a property of a smooth muscle. Any property you can write this property in your notebook. Okay, less myosin and more actin is present in your smooth muscle. These are the sorry they shows absence of striation. Striation means band pattern. Okay, so band like pattern. So spelling is not correct here. So let, so what is meant by striated and non-striated? Let me explain you first. For example, this is a structure. Okay, for example, this is structure of a band, and if you are able to see this type of a banding pattern inside of the structure, so you can say it's a striated. And if the structure is very clean or you cannot see any band, so it doesn't mean it's a blank or it's a very dark. Okay, but there is no any band or no any marking on the structure, so we call it a non-striated. Okay, so striation is absent, that's why we call it a non-striated muscles. Okay, but in the last slide you can see there is a different type of banding pattern present on the muscle, so we call it a striated muscles. Okay, so this is how this type of word is used. Now there is no any reason for you to get confused with these two words, striated and non-striated. Okay, striated means banding pattern, non-striated without banding pattern. Okay, let's see. These muscles are slow and sustain the involuntary contraction. So these are not for your voluntary contractions, these are the involuntary. And what we already discussed, the part of a skeletal muscle here, so it is voluntary muscles, and now this muscle is involuntary muscles. Okay, so they are not contract or relax as per your willpower. The supply to this smooth muscle is from autonomic nervous system. Okay, so we know the autonomic nervous system, this system mostly work automatically. It does not require any the input from your willness or your willpower. Okay, so let's say this autonomic nervous system also divided into the two, one is a parasympathetic and one is a sympathetic, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay, so these two system will maintain our body. One is for the increasing the rate of using energy of a body, and one is for to calm you. Okay, so one make you to make you able to fight with the threat if there is any. Okay, and the second will make you a calm. Okay, so these two systems work together. These are the autonomic nervous system, and these two system also work on this involuntary muscles, that is smooth muscle. Okay, so smooth muscle is a work as per the your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. It is found in all of visceral organs. Okay, so what are the visceral organs? They are mostly inside of your body, and blood vessels, so called the visceral muscles. Okay, so we call it a visceral muscle because a smooth muscle is also called as visceral muscle. Okay, so this is another name of a smooth muscle. They are also called as visceral muscle because they are present at the lining of a visceral organ, and you can say at the all of the blood vessels. Okay, so longitudinal muscles, uh, Smooth muscle, also called as a longitudinal muscle, when there is a lengthwise arrangement. Okay, so the muscles are arranged as lengthwise, we call it longitudinal muscle, and if they are arranged at the circumference of any organ, we call it a circulatory muscle. So these are the three names as per the location and as per the arrangement we use for the single muscle, smooth muscles. Okay, so smooth muscle can be visceral muscle, when it is at the wall of visceral organ, or it can be a longitudinal muscle when the arrangement is a parallel in the microfilament. If you see the microfilament, if they are parallel, so we can call it longitudinal. If the arrangement is a circular, we can call a circular muscle. Okay, at the periphery or circumference of any organ. No, Prajakta, sorry, Mansi. See, guys, uh, we are not talking about the fat tissues. Okay, so the location of fat tissue is also with the different type of, or the location of fat tissue is at the different type of a body, but you can't say it is always with your this type of muscles. Okay, so your fat tissues are everywhere inside of your body. Let's say this fat tissue always present at the bottom of your skin. Okay, so here is a one layer of fat tissue, and here is also muscle, your muscle. Okay, so you can say they are very close to each other, or there is a muscle cell, but we can't see they are always with a fat tissue. Okay, Mansi, let's see cardiac muscles. So these cardiac muscles are looks like a both a striated and non-striated. Okay, so we already discussed this striated muscle and the non-striated muscle, but this cardiac muscle is a both. Okay, so it shows a both characters, which both one is a non-striated and one is a striated, so they look like a both. Okay, striated and also non-striated. Okay, yeah, Mansi, you can say. Okay, so sarcolemma, we already once say, if you do not study the last part of my video, please see that video after this lecture. The name of video is animal tissue part 1. Okay, so there I already discussed about the fat tissues. Okay, so that is adipose tissues. Fat containing tissues are also called as adipose tissues. I already explained there, you can see there. Okay, so sarcolemma is a not a distinct, so uninucleated fiber appear multinucleated. Okay, so this is the magic of this cardiac muscle. You can see the structure. This structure, this is a single cell which is moving from this side to this side. Okay, but at the point where these two cells attach to each other, if you see the boundary between two cells is not clear, so looks like a single cell here. Okay, so you can, we are able to look like a single cell. Okay, so there is a single nucleus with each cell, but still it looks like a multinucleated cells. Okay, so this is how the cardiac muscle arranged inside our body. So if you don't know, let me tell you that the advantages of this type of arrangement. Okay, so let's see, I already uh, add that point also. Intercalated disc means what? At the point of adhesion of a muscle fiber, sarcolemma shows thickening. Okay, so at the point here, so sarcolemma shows thickening. Okay, you can see sarcolemma is thicker here as compared to the before and after part of a muscle. Okay, so this junction allow muscle to contract as a unit. Okay, and help in a quicker transfer of stimulations. Okay, let's see what happens when this cell get any signal of a contraction. It will automatically contract with this two type of cell also. Okay, so they contract like in a group, and because of that, what happened? The signal which is moving is a quick as compared to the a single contraction of a cell. Okay, so the cardiac muscles are involuntary. These muscles are also involuntary muscles. They are not in the control of our willpower. A myocardium of a heart wall is made up of cardiac muscle. Okay, so the we call it a myocardium. Why myocardium? Because some modified tissues are there. For example, the modified cardiac tissue, modified cardiac tissues. Okay, so these modified cardiac tissues will help to generate its own impulse. Okay, its own impulse. So this modified cardiac tissue generate its own impulse. It does not require any input. Okay, so it does not require input from your brain, and that's why we call it myocardia. Okay, so myocardia means they can generate its own impulses. Okay, so they do not require any input. That's why we call it a myocardia. Please write it down. Myocardium of a heart wall is made up of cardiac muscle. Okay, okay, so heart is also called as myogenic heart. Why? Because there is a generation of its own signal from this myocardium or the cardiac muscle. Okay, and when your any organ inside of your body required a signal from brain. Okay, so for example, a brain is here which is going to signal your any organ, so we call it neurogenic. Okay, but here you can see a myogenic. Why myogenic? Because it can generate its own signal for function. So that's why we call it a myogenic in a nature. Okay, so your human heart is a myogenic in a nature, and our other organs inside of our body are the neurogenic in a nature. Okay, so there are other organs inside of our body will not going to uh, generate its own signals. Okay, so let's see the last point of our lecture is a nervous tissue. Okay, so these type of tissues are the part of your nervous system. Okay, so this part is uh, your functional unit of nervous system. Okay, so what are the nervous tissues? These are the tissue which are responsible for the function of nervous tissue. Okay, so they are made up of the neuron. Neuron is a cell, or we call it a nerve cell. Okay, so these tissues are made up of neuron. We know that the design of neuron, it looks like this. Okay, so this type of cell we already uh, studied in ninth class, 10th class. I think it is also present in a 7 and 8 class. Okay, so this type of here like structure is there. Okay, so this is your neuron or nerve cell. Okay, so do not confuse with this cell. It is a nerve cell. There is a single nucleus at the middle of the cell. Okay, so neuroglia are the supporting cell which are present inside of this tissue. Okay, so these tissues are made up of nerve cell and a neuroglia. Okay, so I already write here nerve cell and a neuroglia. Okay, so nerve cell, you get it. This is the functional unit of your nervous tissue. But what is neuroglia? Neuroglia are supporting cell. These are the supporting cell are different than the nerve cell. So you can say a neuroglia is a non-neuron cell. Okay, so your neuroglia are not neuron. Okay, so guys, keep in mind that otherwise what happen? The most of the people get confused. Neuroglia means it is a part of nervous system. Absolutely not. It is not a part of nervous system. Oh, sorry, this is part of a nerve cell, okay, or it is also made up of a nerve cell, or it is looks like a nerve cell. So absolutely not, guys. Okay, so this is a non-neuron cell, you can say a non-neuron, okay, or non-nerve cell. Okay, it is not made up of nerve cell. These are the two different cells. Nerve cell is different and neuroglia is different. Neuroglia are non-neuron, I already write here. Okay, so please write it down. So where these neuroglia are present, they are present between the neurons. Okay, so there is a gap between two neurons, and these neuroglia cells are present between the gap of the neuron. Okay, these cells are specialized for the different function and add efficiency in a nervous cells or nervous tissue. Okay, so this neuroglia, different type of neuroglia are there, and different type of neuroglia functions for a different things. Okay, so neuroglia can divide and a neuron not. Okay, so why neuron not divide? We know that when we study the cell cycle chapter, we also write there a neuron are arrested in the G naught phase. Okay, so we know that what is a G naught phase. Okay, G0 or G naught, most of the time we call read it like a G naught. Okay, so why there is a G naught phase and why neurons are arrested inside of the G naught phase? Because neuron will, or any cell which is inside of a G naught, will not going to divide. Okay, so division is a myth for this cell, and that's why our neuron is always in a G naught phase and they are not going to divide. So neuron never divide, but this neuroglia can divide themselves inside of our nervous tissue. Okay, so this property, uh, sorry, here is one more thing. A neuron are specialized for the impulse generation and conduction of impulse. Okay, so impulse means it is something like an electric signal. Electric signal. Mostly we call it action potential. Action potential. Okay, so I already told you we will definitely have one more session on the how this nervous tissue and muscle tissue works. Okay, so at the working or the mechanism of working we will discuss in the next session also. Okay, so here this neuron or the nerve cells are specialized for the electric signal which is synthesized and also transferred or conducted by the